Jack Harmon stood in the white testing room as the red light flashed above the door. His hands were still shaking. Sweat ran down his back under the gray uniform they had given all candidates. "You failed, Harmon," said Dr. Voss, not looking up from her tablet. Her voice was cold. "The psychological evaluation shows you are unfit for the Vanguard program." Jack blinked. "That's not possible." 2 security guards entered the room. Their faces showed nothing as they moved toward him. "The simulation was clear," Dr. Voss continued. "Your response to the alien threat was—" She paused, finally looking at him. "Concerning." Jack remembered the test. The alien simulation had felt so real. The Krell attack ship had appeared suddenly, weapons hot. Every other candidate had tried to negotiate or retreat. Jack had attacked first, finding a weakness no one else had seen. "No one has ever beaten that simulation," Jack said quietly. "Exactly," Dr. Voss replied. "Because it wasn't meant to be beaten. It was meant to show restraint." The guards grabbed Jack's arms. He didn't fight them. "You're too dangerous, Harmon. Too unpredictable." Dr. Voss turned away. "We need soldiers who follow orders, not wild cards." As they dragged him down the hallway, Jack noticed something strange. Through a glass wall, 3 tall figures watched him. Their skin was pale blue, their eyes too large for their narrow faces. Krell diplomats. And they were watching him with what looked like fear. One of them whispered to another. Jack couldn't hear the words, but he could read lips. Even alien lips. "That's the one," the Krell had said. "He sees through." 6 hours later, Jack sat in his small apartment staring at the wall. His discharge papers lay on the table. Failed, rejected, dangerous. The words burned in his mind. A soft knock at the door made him look up. Then another, harder knock. "Mr. Harmon? Government security. We need to speak with you." Jack moved silently to the side of the door. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. "Open up, sir. This is about your test results." Jack reached for the knife he kept hidden under the counter. The door burst open with a crash. 3 men in black suits rushed in, weapons drawn. The first man fired. Jack was already moving. The bullet hit the wall where he had been standing. Jack's knife found the man's throat before he could fire again. The second man turned, eyes wide with shock. Jack grabbed his gun arm, twisted it back until bones snapped. The man screamed. Jack took his weapon and fired twice. The third man backed away. "How did you—" He never finished. Jack's stolen gun barked once more. Silence filled the apartment. 3 bodies on the floor. Blood spreading across the cheap carpet. Jack stood in the middle, breathing hard but steady. He wiped the knife clean and put it in his pocket. Then he picked up his phone and dialed a number he had memorized years ago but never used. Someone answered on the first ring. "They just tried to erase me," Jack said calmly. "You were right all along." The voice on the other end was quiet for a moment. "Where are you?" "My apartment, 3 cleanup needed." "Stay there, we're coming." A pause. "Welcome to the real war, Harmon." Jack looked down at the dead government agents. "They said I failed the test," he whispered. "So why are they the ones who stopped breathing?" The underground bunker smelled of metal and sweat. Jack followed the woman who had picked him up. Her name was Erin, and she hadn't said more than 10 words since they left his apartment. 3 other people had come to clean up the bodies. They worked fast, like they had done it many times before. "In here," Erin said, stopping at a heavy steel door. It opened with a hiss. Inside, a man with a scarred face stood over a table covered with maps and screens. He looked up when Jack entered. "So you're Harmon," he said. "I'm Commander Liam Hayes. Welcome to the Resistance." Jack looked around the room. 8 other people worked at stations, all watching him now. "What resistance?" Jack asked. "Against who?" Hayes laughed, but there was no joy in it. "The same aliens you saw through in your test. The Krell. They've been here for years, working their way into every level of government." Jack remembered the blue-skinned figures watching him. "The test wasn't about restraint, was it?" "No," Hayes said. "It was about perception. The Krell can fool most human minds. Their technology creates blind spots in our thinking, but some people, rare people, can see through it. He pointed at Jack. People like you. A screen lit up showing Jack's test results. Hayes tapped on it. You didn't fail, Harmon. You were the only one who passed. The only one who saw the simulation for what it really was and acted correctly. Jack felt cold anger rising in his chest. So why tell me I failed? Why try to kill me? Because the Krell have people in the program. They saw your results. You scared them. Hayes leaned forward. Your brain is wired differently. Their scans can't read you. That makes you dangerous to them. A woman at a nearby station spoke up. And valuable to us. Hayes nodded. This is Maya. She failed her test 3 years ago. Jack looked around the room with new understanding. Everyone here failed? We're all failures, Hayes said with a grim smile. The best kind. For the next week, Jack trained with the others. Combat drills in the morning, strategy sessions after lunch, technology briefings at night. He learned that the Krell had been infiltrating Earth for decades. Their goal wasn't invasion, but something worse. Harvesting. They need human biological material, Maya explained during one session. Our nervous systems have something they're dying without. On the 8th day, Hayes called Jack to the command room. Time to put you to work, he said. We've located a facility. On paper, it's a joint human-alien research center. In reality, it's something else. Jack studied the building plans on the screen. What's the mission? Get in. Find proof of what they're really doing. Get out. Hayes handed him a small device. This will record everything you see. 24 hours later, Jack crawled through a ventilation shaft in the facility. The metal was cold against his skin. He moved silently, following the path Maya had mapped out. Below him, through a grate, he saw a large room. People in white coats moved between tables. On the tables were humans, unconscious or dead, Jack couldn't tell. Machines pumped fluids from their bodies into containers. Jack felt sick. He recorded everything. Then he saw her. Dr. Voss, the woman who had failed him. She was giving orders, checking readings on the machines. She wasn't being forced. She was in charge. As Jack watched, Dr. Voss turned to speak to someone. A tall Krell stepped into view. They spoke like old friends. Jack's hand tightened on his weapon. Then the grate beneath him gave way with a loud crack. He fell into the room, landing hard on a metal table. Alarms blared instantly. Dr. Voss spun around, her eyes widening in shock. Harmon? She gasped. How did you? The Krell moved faster than Jack expected, grabbing him before he could raise his weapon. The failure returns, the alien said in perfect English. How convenient. We were running low on test subjects. Jack didn't struggle as the Krell guards dragged him through the facility. His capture had been part of the plan all along. The recording device was still working, hidden in a false tooth. Every step took him deeper into enemy territory, gathering the intelligence they needed. They pushed him into a small cell and locked the door. Jack sat on the hard bench and waited. 3 hours passed before they came for him again. This time they took him to a shuttle. The craft rose quickly through the atmosphere. Jack watched through a small window as Earth shrank below them. Soon a massive structure came into view. The Krell orbital station. It hung in space like a giant metal spider. Impressed, human? Asked one of the guards. Jack kept his face blank. I've seen bigger. The guard hit him hard across the face. Jack tasted blood but didn't react. That was exactly what he wanted. They thought he was just another angry human, not a threat, not someone with a plan. Inside the station, they brought him to a large circular room. 7 Krell sat in raised seats around the edges. In the center stood a taller Krell with markings on its blue skin. The human who sees through, the tall one said. I am Commander Zex of the Krell High Command. Jack looked around the room, memorizing every detail. Nice place. The smell could use work. Zex moved closer. Your defiance is pointless. We have questions. You will answer. I don't know anything, Jack said. We will determine that. Zex nodded to someone behind Jack. Pain exploded in Jack's head. A device had been placed against his neck. It felt like fire in his veins. "Where is the resistance base?" Sex asked. Jack screamed, partly in real pain, partly for show. "I don't know, they blindfolded me." The questions continued for hours. Jack gave them bits of false information mixed with truth. Locations that didn't matter. Names of people who didn't exist. All the while, he was mapping the station in his mind, noting guard patterns, access points. When they finally threw him back in a cell, he was bloody but satisfied. The plan was working. A voice came from the corner of the dark cell. "They worked you over good." Jack turned to see a woman sitting on the floor. Her face was bruised, her dark hair matted with blood, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "Kate Donovan," she said, "former engineer on the Mars colony. Current pain in the Krell's ass." Jack nodded. "Jack Harmon." "I know who you are," Kate said. "The guy who can resist their mind scans. They're scared of you." Jack moved closer. "How long have you been here?" 3 months. I was sabotaging their tech on Mars when they caught me." She grinned, despite her split lip. "Blew up their main communication relay before they got me." Jack lowered his voice. "I can get us out of here." Kate laughed. "Sure you can." "I'm serious, I let them capture me." Kate studied his face. "You're not lying, are you, you crazy bastard?" Jack showed her the false tooth. "Recording everything, but I need to get to their command center." "Why?" "To find out when they're attacking Earth." Kate was quiet for a moment, then she leaned forward. "There's a diplomatic meeting tomorrow. All the high commanders will be there. Security will be stretched thin." Jack smiled. "Perfect." The next day, as guards moved them to a new cell block, Jack gave Kate the signal. She fell to the ground, screaming in apparent pain. When the guards bent to check her, Jack struck. 2 quick blows, and both Krell were down. They ran through the corridors, Kate leading the way. Alarms began to sound. "This way," Kate said, pointing to a maintenance shaft. They climbed up to a higher level. Through a viewport, Jack could see Earth. Something was happening. Dozens of Krell ships were moving into formation. "We're too late," he whispered. Kate looked where he was pointing. Her face went pale. "That's an attack formation." On the main deck below them, a Krell commander was giving orders. "First strike targets: North American Defense Command, European Union Military Headquarters, Asian Alliance Base." Jack watched in horror as the first ships began to move toward Earth. "They're starting the invasion," Kate said. Jack shook his head. "Not an invasion, an extermination." Jack and Kate stole a Krell shuttle. Kate's hands moved fast over the alien controls. "Can you fly this thing?" Jack asked. "I studied their tech for months," Kate said. "Hold on." The shuttle shot away from the station. Behind them, larger ships were already entering Earth's atmosphere. The sky over North America glowed red with weapons fire. "We need to warn the resistance," Jack said. Kate pushed the shuttle to full speed. They broke through the atmosphere, flames licking the hull. Below them, cities burned. Defense bases exploded in bright flashes. They landed in a forest outside what used to be Denver. The air smelled of smoke and burning metal. Jack led the way through the trees to a hidden entrance. "Hayes!" Jack called as they entered the bunker. "Hayes!" The bunker was in chaos. Survivors rushed around, tending to wounded, checking weapons. Commander Hayes stood at the command table, his face grim. "Harmon," he said, "we thought you were dead." "Nearly was." Jack introduced Kate. "She helped me escape. The Krell have started their attack." "We noticed," Hayes said bitterly. "Half our bases are gone. Communications are down." Jack pulled out the recording device. "I got what we needed. The Krell have a weakness." Everyone gathered around as Jack played the recording. It showed Krell scientists discussing their neural network. "They're all connected," Jack explained. "Their ships, their weapons, even their soldiers. One central system." Kate leaned forward. "And it operates on a specific frequency. If we could broadcast a disruption signal, we could shut them all down." Hayes finished. Hope flickered in the room for the first time. There's a problem, Jack said. The signal needs to be sent from their mothership, the one hovering over what's left of the UN building. Hayes nodded. Then that's where we go. They planned through the night. By morning, they had a strategy. 20 resistance fighters would create a distraction. Jack, Kate, and Hayes would infiltrate the mothership. As they prepared to leave, Maya handed Jack a small device. This will generate the disruption signal, she said. Get it to their central processor. The journey to New York was dangerous. Twice they had to hide from Krell patrols. The city was barely recognizable. Buildings were shattered. The air was thick with dust and smoke. The mothership hung above the ruins of the UN, a massive dark shape blocking the sun. Ready? Hayes asked. Jack nodded. Kate squeezed his hand. The distraction worked. Explosions on the east side of the city drew Krell forces away. Jack, Kate, and Hayes used the confusion to board the ship through a maintenance hatch. Inside, they moved quickly through dark corridors. Kate led the way, following the power signatures to the central processor. Almost there, she whispered. They turned a corner and found themselves in a vast chamber. In the center stood a glowing pillar of light and data. The neural network, Kate said. We need to get the device inside it. Hayes suddenly raised his weapon, pointing it at Jack. Hayes? Jack said. What are you doing? I'm sorry, Harmon. Hayes' voice was flat. I can't let you do this. Kate gasped. He's working with them. Not working with them, Hayes said. I am them. He pulled back his sleeve, revealing blue skin underneath the human disguise. You're Krell, Jack said, anger burning in his chest. I was placed in your resistance years ago, Hayes explained. We knew someone like you would eventually appear, someone who could see through our deceptions. Jack's mind raced. All the missions, all the plans Hayes had known about. How many humans had died because of him? The real Hayes died during the first contact, the Krell continued. I took his place. Jack lunged forward, but the Krell was faster. The shot hit Jack in the shoulder, spinning him around. He fell hard against a control panel. Kate screamed and attacked Hayes, but he knocked her down easily. You humans, Hayes said, standing over Jack. So predictable, so easy to manipulate. Jack looked up at him, blood soaking his shirt. Not all of us. With his good arm, Jack pulled the disruption device from his pocket and slammed it into the control panel behind him. The ship's lights flickered. The neural network pillar pulsed erratically. Hayes' face showed fear for the first time. What have you done? Before Jack could answer, a new voice filled the chamber. Deep, resonant, female. Enough, it said. A door opened at the far end of the room. A tall figure entered, larger than any Krell Jack had seen. Her skin was deeper blue, almost purple. A crown of metal and light circled her head. The Queen, Kate whispered in horror. The Queen looked at Jack with ancient eyes. So you are the one who sees through our tests. How interesting. Jack tried to stand, pressing his hand against his bleeding shoulder. Your test is over. And you failed. The Queen smiled. No, human. The real test is just beginning. The Queen moved closer to Jack. Her steps were slow, deliberate. The air around her seemed to bend. You think this is about conquest, she said. About resources, how small your understanding is. Jack pressed harder against his wound. Blood seeped between his fingers. Then explain it to me. We are the gardeners of the galaxy, the Queen said. We test species. We push them to evolve or die. Kate had crawled to Jack's side. She tore a strip from her shirt and pressed it against his shoulder. The war, the infiltration, the harvesting, the Queen continued. All tests. We need to know if humanity deserves to survive. Hayes, or the Krell wearing his face, stood beside the Queen now. Most species fail. They break. They surrender. Jack laughed, a harsh sound full of pain, and you thought we would too. Many of you did, the Queen said. Your leaders, your scientists, they gave in to fear. The ship shuddered. The disruption device was working, but too slowly. Jack needed more time. So the psychological test, Jack said. The one I failed. What was it really testing? The Queen's large eyes fixed on him. Will. The will to see truth. The will to fight even when victory seems impossible. Jack remembered the simulation. The alien ship that couldn't be beaten, except he had beaten it. You wanted someone who would attack first, Jack said. Someone who would strike without hesitation. Yes, the Queen said. Someone who understands that survival sometimes requires violence. Jack looked at Kate. Her eyes were wide, but he saw understanding there. She nodded slightly. The device, Jack whispered to her. It needs to go into the central pillar. Kate's hand moved to her pocket where she had the backup device. Jack turned back to the Queen. If this is all a test, then why kill millions? Why not just ask? Words lie, the Queen said. Actions reveal truth. Your species says it values life, yet you destroy your own planet. You claim to want peace, yet you wage constant war. Jack stood up straight despite the pain. We're flawed. We make mistakes. But we learn. Do you? The Queen stepped closer. Show me. Jack lunged forward suddenly, grabbing Hayes. The move surprised both Krell. Jack spun Hayes around, using him as a shield. Kate, now! Jack shouted. Kate sprinted toward the neural network pillar, the device in her hand. Guards moved to stop her, but Jack fired Hayes' weapon, dropping 2 of them. The Queen raised her hand. A wave of force knocked Jack backward. He hit the wall hard, felt ribs crack, but Kate had reached the pillar. She plunged the device into the glowing light. The effect was immediate. The ship's systems went haywire. Lights flashed. Alarms blared. The Queen screamed, a sound that hurt Jack's ears. All around them, Krell soldiers fell to their knees, clutching their heads. Jack pushed himself up, pain shooting through his body. He grabbed a fallen weapon and limped toward the Queen. She was on the ground now, her crown of light flickering. You were right about one thing, Jack said, standing over her. Survival does require violence. He aimed the weapon at her head. Wait, the Queen gasped. You pass. Humanity passes. This wasn't your test to give, Jack said. It was ours, and you failed. The Queen looked up at him, understanding finally showing in her alien eyes. They said you failed the test, she whispered. Jack pulled the trigger. Then why are you still breathing? He fired once. The Queen's body jerked and went still. Throughout the ship, systems began to shut down. Kate ran back to Jack, helping him stand. The signal, she said. It's spreading to all their ships. Through the viewports, they could see Krell vessels falling from the sky, crashing into the ocean away from populated areas. We need to get off this ship, Jack said. It's going down too. They made their way to an escape pod. As they launched away from the mothership, they watched it begin its fall toward the Atlantic. 3 months later, Jack stood on a beach watching the sunset. The world was rebuilding. The Krell were gone. Their technology was being studied, adapted for human use. Kate walked up beside him. Her wounds had healed, just like his. The president wants to give you a medal, she said. Jack shook his head. Tell him to give it to the ones who didn't make it. What will you do now? Kate asked. Jack didn't answer immediately. He was thinking about the Queen's words, about tests and survival. There are more out there, he finally said. More aliens, more tests. How do you know? Jack turned to her. Because the Queen was afraid of something bigger than her. He pulled a small device from his pocket. It was Krell technology, modified by his own hands. It showed a signal coming from deep space. Another test is coming, Jack said, and this time we'll be ready.